She swears nothing's wrong. She smiles the same. She says she loves you. But deep down, something feels off. The way she looks at you, the way she touches you, the way the bedroom suddenly shifts. It's different, and you can't explain why. Here's the harsh reality most men never want to face. When a woman cheats, she rarely confesses. She hides, she covers, she plays sweet while burying the truth under layers of excuses and affection. But no matter how careful she is, guilt always leaves fingerprints. You don't catch her because she slips up with her words. You catch her because her guilt leaks through her behavior. And once you know what to look for, you'll never ignore the signs again. This isn't about paranoia. It's about awareness. Because if you miss these signals, you'll keep sleeping next to a woman whose heart is no longer yours. But if you see them, you'll know the truth before she ever dares to admit it. So pay close attention, because I'm about to reveal 10 hidden signs wives show when they're hiding guilt after cheating. 1. When her touch feels different. A woman's touch can tell you more than her words ever will. Most men don't notice it, but when guilt lives under her skin, when she's hiding something she doesn't want you to find, her body betrays her before her mouth ever does. And the first place it shows, in her touch. Think back to the beginning, when everything felt alive. When she brushed her hand across your chest like it belonged there. When she grabbed your arm, not because she had to, but because she wanted the world to know she was with you. Touch back then was electric. It was effortless. It carried hunger, intimacy, and comfort all at once. Now fast forward. You come home, lean in for a kiss, and something feels off. It's subtle. She's still there, still touching you, but the warmth is gone. Her lips graze yours, but they don't linger. Her arms wrap around you, but they don't pull you in. It's mechanical, almost rehearsed. That's not love speaking. That's guilt trying to disguise itself as routine. Guilt does strange things to a woman. Sometimes it makes her overcompensate. Her touches become more frequent, but oddly hollow, as if she's trying to convince herself and you that everything's normal. Other times, guilt makes her withdraw. She gives you less warmth, less intimacy, less spark, because in her mind, she's already crossing that bridge with someone else, and her body can't fake what her heart is hiding. And here's where most men go blind. They accept the new version of her touch as if it's just stress or mood swings. They tell themselves, she's just tired, or we've been married a while, passion fades. But deep down, they feel it, that shift, that change in energy. The woman who once pressed into you now leans away ever so slightly. The fingertips that used to wander your skin now barely rest there. The difference is microscopic. But real men notice. Let's get darker. Imagine lying next to her in bed. She rolls over, puts her hand on your chest, and instead of connection, it feels like distance, like she's touching you out of habit, not desire. You sense her mind is somewhere else, guilty, restless, running a reel of memories she can't share with you. Her touch becomes a mask, not a bridge. And that mask cracks the more you pay attention. But here's the most twisted part. Guilt can make her touch you more passionately at times, almost desperately, because every time she lays her hands on you, she's also silencing the voice in her head that whispers what she did. She thinks, if I make him feel good, maybe he won't see through me. That sudden spike of passion isn't always love. Sometimes it's a cover-up. A guilty woman's body becomes a battlefield. Her desire for you fights with her shame about betraying you, and the evidence leaks out in touch. The kiss that feels rushed, the hug that feels stiff, the hand that lingers too long, almost like it's asking for forgiveness without saying the words. If you've ever felt that shift, if you've ever leaned into her and thought, this feels different, don't ignore it. That's your instinct warning you, because the body doesn't lie. A woman might control her words, her stories, even her schedule, but her touch will always reveal the truth she's hiding. So pay attention. Notice the way her hands move across your skin. Notice if her kisses have lost their hunger. Notice if her embrace feels more like duty than desire. Because when her touch feels different, it's not just a phase, not just stress. It's a signal, and only the men brave enough to face it see what it really means. Her guilt has already started to speak long before she does. 2. The bedroom suddenly changes. If there's one place where guilt refuses to stay hidden, it's the bedroom. You can fake a smile at dinner, you can rehearse stories for where you've been, but the moment the lights go off and bodies get close, the truth bleeds through. And if she's hiding guilt after cheating, the bedroom will never feel the same again. Think back to how it used to be. The rhythm, the flow, the intimacy that felt almost telepathic. The way she touched you, kissed you, pulled you in like there was no one else in the world. That wasn't just sex. That was her choosing you with her whole body. When a woman is fully yours, the bedroom is alive with warmth, hunger, and comfort. Now notice when that energy changes. Sometimes it's in the form of distance. She turns her back to you more often, claims she's tired, avoids your touch under the sheets. Her body starts carrying excuses. Not tonight. I'm stressed. I have an early morning. And sure, those can all be true once in a while. But when the excuses pile up, when the passion that once defined your nights turns into a cold routine, something else is happening. Guilt rewires her intimacy. She knows what she's done, and when she lies next to you, she feels the weight of it pressing down. She doesn't want to be touched, because every touch reminds her of the betrayal. The guilt robs her of the ability to relax with you, to let herself go the way she once did. And you feel it, even if you don't want to admit it. But here's the twisted paradox. Sometimes guilt doesn't make her colder. Sometimes it makes her hotter. The bedroom suddenly lights up with passion you haven't seen in months. She's initiating more, being more experimental, showering you with the kind of intimacy you used to beg for. On the surface, it looks like a blessing, like things are finally back to how they should be. But underneath, it's guilt playing its tricks. When a woman cheats, part of her knows she's risking everything. The guilt gnaws at her. And one of the ways she silences it is by throwing herself at you in bed. She thinks, if I give him everything here, if I make him feel like a king, maybe he won't notice what I've done. That sudden surge of lust isn't always about love. Sometimes it's a cover-up, a desperate attempt to bury the evidence under sheets and sweat. And here's where men get trapped. They mistake guilty passion for renewed attraction. They think, she's back, she wants me again. But the truth is darker. That passion is fueled by fear, not desire. It's a way to compensate, to balance the scales in her own head. And once you start seeing it clearly, you'll realize that both extremes, the sudden coldness or the sudden fire, are red flags of the same thing, guilt. Pay attention to the details. Does she avoid eye contact when you're close? Does her affection feel like it's forced or exaggerated? Does the intimacy spike out of nowhere after weeks of distance? These aren't random mood swings. They're shifts caused by a conscience that's carrying a secret. The bedroom is sacred. It's the one place where words don't matter and energy tells the truth. If she's hiding guilt, that truth will seep out in the way she touches you, kisses you, or avoids you altogether. Don't ignore it. Don't excuse it as just stress. Because if the bedroom suddenly changes, it's rarely by accident. Her guilt is already speaking, and it's speaking through the silence, the hesitation, or the sudden desperate passion she throws your way. 3. She's too sweet. Suddenly. One of the strangest signs a wife is hiding guilt after cheating is when she suddenly flips into overdrive with sweetness. I'm not talking about her natural kindness or the love she's always shown you. I'm talking about the kind of sugar-coated behavior that feels just a little too much, like she's trying to erase something without ever admitting it. It usually sneaks up on you. Maybe you've been going through an ordinary week, nothing special, when out of nowhere she's showering you with compliments, cooking your favorite meals, touching you more than usual, or leaving little notes that say, "I love you so much." On the surface, it feels amazing. Most men would think, wow, she's finally appreciating me again. Maybe she realized what a great husband I am. But here's the darker reality. Guilt makes people overcompensate, and women are masters at covering their tracks through affection. If she's been unfaithful, a part of her knows she's crossed a line, so she piles on the sweetness like makeup over a bruise, hoping you won't look close enough to see what's really underneath. Think of it like this. In the beginning of a relationship, sweetness is natural. It's raw, effortless, a byproduct of excitement and attraction. But when sweetness comes out of nowhere after distance, arguments, or odd behavior, that's not natural, that's strategic. That's guilt trying to keep you calm, to keep suspicion away. It's her conscience whispering, cover it up. Make him feel loved so he won't ask questions. And the scary part? It works on most men. They get blinded by the sudden kindness. They soak up the affection like a starving man at a feast, never realizing that what they're being fed isn't love. It's guilt in disguise. Let me paint you a picture. A husband I once spoke to told me about a shift in his wife's behavior. For months, she had been distant, cold, uninterested in intimacy. He chalked it up to stress. Then, one week, everything changed. She was making his favorite dinners, surprising him with gifts, leaving flirty texts during the day. He thought, maybe we've turned a corner. But weeks later he discovered the truth. She had been having an affair. The sudden sweetness wasn't a revival of their marriage. It was her attempt to drown her guilt and silence his instincts before they caught up to her. Here's the pattern. Guilt-driven sweetness usually feels excessive. It's not just affection. It's too much affection. Not just kindness. It's over-the-top kindness. And deep down, you'll feel it. Something in you will whisper, why now? Why like this? That's your intuition picking up on the mismatch between her actions and her truth. But guilt doesn't always come in the form of affection. Sometimes it's wrapped in exaggerated attention. She'll suddenly be overly concerned about your needs, asking if you're okay more often, making sure you feel cared for. Again, sounds lovely on the surface, but if it feels like a switch flipped overnight, don't ignore it. Real love grows gradually. Guilt-driven sweetness arrives suddenly, like a storm covering tracks in the sand. And here's the kicker, that sweetness usually comes with a hidden fragility. She'll be extra nice, but she'll also get more defensive if you question her. Ask where she's been, and instead of calmly answering, she'll bristle. Call out something odd in her behavior, and she'll snap back with, I'm doing everything for you, and you're still suspicious. That's not love talking. That's guilt fighting to stay hidden. The truth is, guilt always leaks. She might think she's being clever by drowning you in kindness, but the very act of going too sweet too suddenly is the red flag itself. Because women don't just change overnight for no reason. When they do, there's always a trigger. And if the trigger isn't a life change, a deep conversation, or a healing breakthrough, it might just be a guilty conscience trying to rewrite the story. So when you feel that sudden wave of sweetness crashing over you, don't just enjoy it blindly. Step back, observe, ask yourself, is this her genuine heart speaking, or is this her guilt trying to seduce me into silence? Because sometimes the most dangerous lies aren't spoken with words, they're spoken with kisses, with dinners, with "I love yous" whispered a little too often. When a woman is too sweet too suddenly, she's not just showing you love. She's hiding the truth she prays you'll never uncover. So here's the brutal truth. Guilt always leaks. It leaks in her touch, in the way the bedroom shifts, in the sweetness that suddenly feels just a little too sweet. Most men miss it. They brush it off, tell themselves they're imagining things, or swallow the excuses she feeds them. But the men who see it, the men who notice the cracks in the mask, those are the men who protect themselves from betrayal. If you've felt that change, that shift, that strange new version of her, trust your gut, because guilt can be disguised, but it can't be erased. And the sooner you learn to read the hidden signs, the sooner you stop being the fool in her story and start being the man who can't be played. Now I'll leave you with this. Women don't fear being caught, they fear being figured out. And the moment you open your eyes to these hidden signs, she knows the game is over. If you want more raw, unapologetic truths like this, the kind of things women whisper about behind closed doors but would never admit to your face, hit that subscribe button right now. And tell me in the comments, which of these signs have you noticed before? Has the touch, the bedroom, or the sudden sweetness given you that gut feeling something wasn't right? Be honest. You might save another man from ignoring the same red flags. Because once you see guilt for what it is, you'll never unsee it.